This one's not politically correct. This is for entertainment purposes. We have a man and a woman here. We're going to watch this together. And please forgive how offended you all might get at this, but we're going to watch it anyway. You ready?
Okay.
Here goes.
So this is the Universal Hot Crazy Matrix. It's everything a young man needs to know about women. I've developed this on my own over 46 years of living on the earth. So this is how it works. You have your crazy axis and your hot axis.
You say axis?
Hot is, as usual, measured from 0 to 10. We're all familiar with that. Crazy is measured from 4 to 10 because, of course, there's no such thing as a woman who's not at least a 4 crazy.
I told you, this is not politically correct.
Wow.
It's just funny. It's just funny.
So you got...
It's cliches. It's not true. Obviously, it's funny.
4 to 10. This is your hot crazy line right here. Very important that you keep in mind where the hot crazy line is. As a rule, this is your no-go zone. We do not hang around and date and marry women who are not, at least in our mind, a 5. So this is your no.
He has a point. I mean, I think my wife's a 10. You know,
go zone. You don't go here. We just rule this out. Life is better this way. That's the way it is. All right. Above a 5 and to about an 8, and below the crazy line, this is your fun zone. You can hang out here and meet these girls and spend time with them. That's your fun zone, but keep in mind when you're in the fun zone, you want to move out of the fun zone to a more permanent location. Okay?
Oh, those aren't married.
So that's the fun
material.
zone. Above a 5, hot. Below an 8, hot. And below the crazy line. This means these are most of the time not crazy. Okay? Above the danger zone, above the crazy line, we have the danger zone. This is your redheads, your strippers, anyone named Tiffany.
That just classified my daughter in that zone.
I'll give him strippers on that. Yeah, right. But redheads.
This is hair.
Although I think I did date a couple of redheads, and they're pretty crazy.
Dressers.
They were definitely crazier than they were hot. They were above. They were in the danger. I'm all right. I'm just.
This is where your car gets keyed. You get a bunny in the pot. Tires get slashed, and you wind up in jail. Now,
Carlos Cortez. That happened to a judge. One of the crazies trying to get out of the car. So, there's video on it. Crazy.
now that we have some of the chart filled in, we got a couple more pieces to put in. But at this point, understand something. This is not a static environment. This is a situation where you have got to use this matrix over time to develop some reliable data. It's like a dope chart, okay? Because at any moment in time, any woman that you have previously located on this chart can vanish from that location and appear anywhere else on the chart.
Can appear anywhere else. Have you seen some of those ones where there's women and they're like,
I will say this:
weird looking women, and then they do
vanish-
this makeup and they pull all this stuff off their face, and then they put all this makeup on and they're just gorgeous, but then they like pull it all off and it's like, what is that? It's like that Chris Rock joke. It's like, you wear makeup, you don't look like that. Everything about you is a lie.
Hey, I'm just going to say this for all you women out there. If he says you vanished off the chart into another spot, what man made you become that way?
What? Or, well, yeah, I don't know. I like taking responsibility for your own actions, but, you know, we'll get to the type of woman that you want here. It does get better.
Okay.
So what you have to do is, over time, collect some data. And once
So today she's a 4, but she's a 4 hot and an 8 crazy, so she's a no-go. But then if she's a 6 hot and only like a 5 and crazy, then she's okay today. Now she's in the fun zone. This is how you plot this out.
You have a cluster of data points, you can begin to consider that reliable. Now, moving on, you have this zone here. This is below the crazy line, above an 8 hot, but still, about a 7 crazy. This is your date zone. You can stay in the date zone indefinitely. These are women that you introduce to your friends and your family. They're good looking and they're reasonably not crazy most of the time. Okay? So you can stay here indefinitely. Now, above an 8 hot and between about a 7 and a 5 crazy, this is your wife zone. Okay? When you meet this girl, you should consider a long-term relationship. This zone is not scaled to size. This is a representation and not an actual. This is not a pie chart showing you how many of these people are out there. This is simply a representation of what you're after. You want to be 5 to 7 crazy, above an 8 hot. That's your wife zone. Okay. Now, below a 5 crazy and above an 8 hot. This is your unicorn zone. These things don't exist. If you find a unicorn, please capture it safely, keep it alive. We'd like to study it and maybe look at how to replicate that.
I guess we're going to have to send Summer in. I think both you and Summer are unicorns.
Oh, God.
I'm just going to go there. I think you're a unicorn for Daniel, and I think Summer's a unicorn for me. I don't even think they're in. Y'all are not even in wife zone. Y'all are unicorns. No question.
Okay. So I was explaining this to a guy one time, and he said, "Wait a minute."
So apparently, this podcast has captured a couple of unicorns, and they're putting them on display so that you can study the specimen. Here's the unicorn right here. You can even get a unicorn T-shirt. Link in description below.
I met this girl, and she's like smoking hot. She's like at least a 9, and she's chill. She's totally cool. She's like not even a 3 crazy. I said, "You're telling me you've met a girl, she's a 9 hot, and she's like a 2 or a 3 crazy?" He said, "Yeah, man, I like her a lot." I said, "You should be careful. That's a dude. You're talking to a."
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Of all things.
So you got to be careful, because down here below a 4 crazy and above an 8 hot, you're probably talking to a dude. That is the universal hot crazy matrix.
All right, Dana, that was pretty good. Now, let me
Is
ask
his name
you,
Dana?
like, for the women watching,
What was his name?
is there a male version of that? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
would it also be?
Oh, yeah, it's a
if
little simpler.
If a dude is super hot, okay.
Yeah, it's a little simpler, but we can do it real quick. It doesn't take very long at all. For women, this is your matrix. You got your cute axis, and you got your money axis.
I knew it was going to be money.
And if you have, there's only 3 sections. Women have a very large no-go zone. This is for dudes who are neither hot nor have a lot of money. You'll notice over here, this is the husband section. Once you cross a line and have sufficient amounts of money, it is no longer relevant how hot you are. And then women have a fun zone here where a dude is broke but hot.
Fun zone.
That is the cute versus rich matrix for women's use.
Oh, my goodness.
I never, ever looked at money, ever, in a person, ever. I can honestly say that. I can put my hand on the Bible with that. Never once did money.
I told you you're a
cross my
unicorn.
mind. No, I don't unicorn, but it's not something
Okay.
that I think about.
So, for the ladies, we've done the cute. Or wait, we've done the crazy hot matrix for the ladies. There's a guy version.
This is your hot, emotional unavailability matrix. Everything a woman needs to know about men. This takes
Told you we're gonna do this one's for the ladies.
some people 46 years to develop. We banged this out in 5 minutes. This is how it is. It just is. This is your emotional unavailability axis. This is your hot axis. Hot, as usual, is measured from 0 to 10. We all know that. Emotional unavailability is measured from 4 to 10 because we know there's no such thing as a man who's not at least a stunted 4 in emotional growth. 4 and below, of course, is reserved for
So far, this is a pretty good parody of the original.
our gay BFFs. Love you guys. This is
Oh, what did she say?
4 in emotional growth. 4 and below, of course, is reserved for our gay BFFs. Love you guys. This is your emotional unavailability hot line. It is very important you keep in mind where this line is at all times. As a rule, this is your no-go zone, okay? We do not date or hang out or marry men who are, at least in our minds, a 5. There is a supplemental graph for girls who will date, marry a guy who's a 5 and under for his money.
Whoa, she went there. She's acknowledging.
Oh,
I was not expecting that.
it happens.
It's your no-go zone. We just rule this out. Life is better that way. That is just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Above a 5 until about an 8, that is your fun zone. Okay? We can hang around these guys, meet these guys, spend protected time with these guys. This is your I'm working on an app guy, commercial actors, and any minor league athletes. Fun zone. Above the emotional unavailability line, this is your danger zone. Okay, this is guys with 2 first names, any guy named Brad or Chad, any ads, online porn addicts, any guy that reads Elite Daily. This guy will call your ex, drunk dial you 20 times, and carve your name into his chest a la Mark Wahlberg. Forever. And they'll wind up pregnant, also, forever. Danger zone. Below the emotional unavailability line and above an 8 hot and still about a 7 in emotional complexity, this is your date zone. Ladies, we can hang out with these guys, introduce them to our friends, not our dads, but distant cousins.
Not our dads.
These guys, they're pretty good looking and reasonably evolved. Date zone. Above an 8 hot and in between about a 7 and a 5, that is your husband zone, okay? Now, when you find this guy, you lock him down, okay? This is not done to size. This is not a pie chart. This is a representation. There's only actually about 5 guys that qualify. Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling. This is your husband zone, in between a 7 and a 5, okay? Now, above an 8 hot and below a 5, this is your Prince Charming zone. This man does not exist. If you find him, please capture him. Every straight woman on the planet is looking for him. We'd like to study him and maybe look at how to replicate him. It's your Prince Charming zone. Now, I was explaining this to my girlfriend, and she said, wait a minute. I met this guy who is smoking hot, at least in 9.
Here we go.
He went down on me for an hour. We stayed up all night talking.
Wow.
He cried, at least a 3 in emotional unavailability. And I said, girl, have you seen Boys Don't Cry? That was a woman. Lesbian. So, okay? Now, ladies, I want you to use this information and go forth and conquer. Lots of love, Kelsey. At least a 7 crazy.
Oh, wow. She did a pretty good job on that.
She did.
There is a little bit of truth in that. It's very, very funny, but
Yep.
that's probably what a lot of people are looking for.
Oh, yeah. It is. Unfortunately. It's not the way you should look for your significant other.
I would describe it all very, very differently.
Yep.
But
Me too.
it's funny because it's at least a little true.
Pick someone that has good values like you.
And by the way, all it's done and fun is jokes. No offense
Yes.
meant for anyone.
No,
But it's just funny.
it is funny.
This is the Lawyer Dan Show.